Welcome everyone to our Let's Play Dominions 4 in the 7-person free-for-all series as Shinuyama. This is turn 22. There's not too much to talk about in this turn. I feel like we won't have a really long discussion for this turn, and we'll probably be able to fit turn 23 in with this episode as well. So let's just look at what we have here. Vanheim is agreeing to move out of the Green Seas. This was part of the agreement was that I move in. I might have talked about this a little bit in the last episode. Maybe I don't remember. But part of the agreement was that I move into the seas around Airmore to keep the pressure on there. So this is interesting that Asphodel has actually taken a second throne. I think this is going to make them look like they're doing really well in the game, where in fact I think they aren't. Their economy is probably pretty poor. I can't imagine that they have much research going on at all, because I don't think they have any forts outside of their home province. So other things, yeah, Green Waters, this is the province. It's not even worth watching, just province defense of 0, essentially. Just 1, I think. So I won't watch this battle, but we'll go to the province. Basically, Fafnir moved north, and as part of the agreement, we entered Green Waters. Then we also, our goal is to take Sea of Mermaid and Triton Sea, but we don't actually have enough. This is just to honor the agreement that we'd move in. I want to move in and take these things, but the thing is we don't have enough forces here. So what I'll probably end up doing is recruiting Kappas, as you can see I'm already doing, so that they will be loaded up with this group, added to this group, and they'll move in, and we can take Sea of Mermaids and Triton Sea after that. So that'll be that. What else do we have going on? Let's see. Yeah, the Throne of Winter is still spreading cold. So I guess what I'll do in this episode is I'll kind of just do a little bit of discussion of what's going on in the background, or what's even going on in my head, because there's not too much to talk about, and I was kind of trying to brainstorm what is interesting for viewers to hear. And I think it might be kind of like just amusing, really amusing to hear the perspective of any different players on what is going on in the game. They're like naive, very naive. I'm sure that we're all wrong. In my opinion, Marcus Aurelius might have the best grasp of what's going on. So if you watch his videos and he seems to have a pretty good grasp, that's the impression I get from our diplomatic exchanges. I don't have much diplomatic exchange with Vanheim, and I don't know why this is. I probably should make more of an effort, but I just haven't. There's no real reason for us to interact outside of the council, and they left the council as well now, saying that they're not going to attack Airmore anymore. They're going to focus their... I don't think they've yet attacked Agartha, but that's where things are going. It seems for all intents and purposes, I consider Vanheim already at war with Agartha. Although I don't talk about that, and I don't think it's actually happened quite yet. You can see Ulm is moving their force north. It's a pretty large contingent of forces. Interesting to see where they go. I'm a little bit worried for Agartha. I don't have any hostility towards either Agartha or Ulm. I just would prefer everyone focus on Vanheim. So in my opinion, it's a sad battle. The only good glimmer of hope from it is the fact that Agartha and Vanheim, will soon be at war. So at least in this way, Vanheim will be whittled down slightly. They have something to wear down their massive income, their massive everything. It'll be really interesting to see what Airmore does at this point, because if I was Airmore, I would just be gung-ho about slaughtering Vanheim. Vanheim, which has brought them to their knees, single-handedly eliminated basically all their provinces, just destroyed them. Who else has taken Airmore? I guess Airmore's holdings is maybe Asphodel a bit. I guess I haven't actually intruded on Airmore at all. It's mainly just Vanheim and Airmore attacking each other. Perhaps I don't think that Agartha has been too negative with... I don't know if there's any open hostilities between Airmore and Agartha. I don't think so. So if I was Airmore, just interesting to see what they do, because Sabouts is basically out of this game, but he's not out yet. He did win that huge battle, thankfully, against Vanheim. It was awesome to see. So let's see what he does from here. Asphodel still kicking and fighting. Okay, that's what I wanted to focus on. Another thing, that man has finally committed down this channel of land. I don't really know what to call it, but this is crucial because I wasn't sure if they would, and they have finally, with conviction, committed to going to Asphodel's capital. It doesn't look like they have enough forces to do what they need to do. There's 150 here, black centaurs, etc., and there's only 70 here. Man's units are probably per unit better. You have a lot of these free spawn, like carrion beasts, mannequins. These are not particularly threatening units compared to what man is fielding. But still, numbers do play a role. So I'm not sure he'll be able to defeat Asphodel, especially because Asphodel can camp at Asphodel, wait for their province defense to... wait a few more turns of recruitment, and they can kick in, defend with all the province defense in Asphodel, which should be pretty significant. They're starting... as it's their starting capital. So we have now finally made the convicted, or move with conviction. I don't know what the right way of saying that is. We're moving with real conviction now. I've got my armies lined up. They're not in correct formation yet, but I'll get to that soon. But we're moving in. We're combining here, and from here, this army is now marching. Because man has said he's marching, and so I wanted to get my forces to act, to coincide with him as much as possible. I basically don't want to be a bad ally. I don't see any reason why I should want anything bad to happen to man. I would consider man at this point probably my closest ally. Ulm has I thought Ulm as like a close ally, but just their way of kind of disregarding Asphodel, leaving me to or man and I both, but I would say mostly Shinuyama to shoulder a lot of the attack against Asphodel, has kind of left me a little... I still consider Ulm an ally, but just not nearly as strong as I once thought that they would be. I thought it was basically be like us two against Asphodel, and really that switched to now man and I against Asphodel, which will strengthen our ties. So, yeah, let me just give my perspective on what I think how everyone's doing right now, and you can kind of laugh, well, loudly to yourself. Oh, one other thing before I get into that. Agarth and I have kind of divvied up the sea now. I told them that I am going for the darks, and he is going to go and take... He wanted the darks, but I told him I need this because it's an operating point against Asphodel, just clearly. So I will take the darks, and he will take Tifia the island. Now, I still haven't talked to him about the Moon Sea, but I definitely don't want him to hold the Moon Sea. It's just 2 provinces away from Shinuyama, my capital. And I want to control everything within a 2-province circle from Shinuyama. You might consider this like an extended capital circle. It's a pretty large range of provinces that are 2 steps away from Shinuyama, but so far we've done a good job of controlling all of them, except for Triton Sea and Moon Sea. Obviously Fever Fens too, but I guess I do need to eventually take this. Okay, anyway, so we've divvied up the sea. I'll be taking the darks, and he'll be taking Tifia and Tifian Sea. So that's agreed upon. I'm moving out. Okay, so yeah, how do I think everyone's doing? Well, Asphodel, I just feel really bad for. Actually, to be honest, on like a personal level, I feel kind of bad. I know a game's a game, and everyone should have thick skin about it, but the fact that we've kind of beaten up on Dwarf Comic and Asphodel without really any provocation, it's a game, and on top of that, Asphodel has kind of lent us this opportunity to do so, or a justification, by picking a pop kill race. I would love to see if there was another Dominions 4 playthrough. I've already mentioned this, but I would love to see everyone picking nations which are not pop kill. Because Airmore was just crushed for this exact reason. And they're still a threat. Basically you can see that this Sea of Mermaids has like nothing left. Green Waters has like nothing left. I'm sure Triton Sea doesn't have much left. Even, I don't know, I guess we're doing okay growth-wise here, so we still have good population. That's good to see, but it probably could be better. So Airmore, it just gave us all a reason to beat up on Airmore. And I think it was a little suicidal of us to choose Airmore. That's a discussion which has already been beaten to death. But it's just the same kind of discussion you can have about Airmore, you can also have about Asphodel, because of their reliance on death. It kind of gave us a motivation to bound together. Yeah, anyway, so Asphodel is doing poorly just because Part of it, I think, is also that DC won the last game, so it's nice to not have the same person win twice. Those were, again, my two justifications for, going to war with Asphodel. One, pop kill, undead, that kind of thing. But two, also, nobody wants to see the same person just win time after time. Everybody likes parity, so... Anyway. Airmore, Asphodel out. Man, I'm kind of confused what Man is doing, really. I suspect that they maybe have more forts in their area than I can see. They only have... Man has the starting capital defense, and then Halbathria has this fort, and they probably have one on Black Alps as well. But aside from those three, that's a good number. I just don't know what Man is doing right now. I don't know what their objective is, besides probably now killing Asphodel. I don't know diplomatically how much I should be trusting them, because I don't know how strong they are. There's a lot of lack of information. It's probably just due to me not having enough spies out. Ulm, I considered kind of down and out, because they were invaded, they were pushed, they lost some forces to Asphodel. But they've kind of rebounded back nicely, and they do have a pretty sizable army moving on Agartha, so I'm just going to stay tuned to see what goes on there. I consider Ulm not a big threat. Agartha I actually consider pretty threatening, because they've had to do nothing the whole time but build, build, build. And they've been able to do that pretty comfortably. But I don't rank them as like an imminent threat or anything like that. I just want to see how things develop. The way Man and I see the world, I think I'd share his view. And maybe I'd consider myself a little higher up in the ranks than Man considers us. But I don't want to, expose that I think we're actually better off than Man suspects. I would put Vanheim 1 and Agartha 2. Agartha partly because of their late game ability, and Vanheim just because their incredible strength. Their position is so strong right now. So, who else do I need to talk about? I guess Vanheim is pretty straightforward. It's interesting that they've gotten away for this long with expanding so large. It's like people have started to become okay with the fact that they're this big. Like maybe, I don't know. I didn't prepare a really good speech for what I said, but those are my impressions right now. So again, takeaway points from this turn. What are they? We're moving out. We're combining our armies and we're moving west because I want to support Man. I want to be a good ally. We've divvied up the sea. Oh yeah, the fact that Asphodel has claimed this throne. I'm sure it's this throne. There's no other ones in reach for them. So the fact that they've taken this throne, what does that mean? Well, besides the fact that it's going to spread cold around the world. I think it's going to show them as, it's going to make them appear better than they are. Because now we have Vanheim with 3 thrones. Agartha and I each have a throne, and Asphodel now has 2 thrones, so they have 3 points, which is puts them in 2nd place in total throne count. But I would say that they are far from 2nd place in every other way. Probably they're 2nd to last. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna call this video a close. Sorry that this was a little bit more rambling. It was somewhat intentional because I wanted you to kind of get into my head, see the kind of things that I'm thinking. And then again, I'm sure that for you who can go and watch the different episodes of the different players, you can probably laugh at what I'm saying. But I would say that Agartha has probably the best beat on what everyone else is doing, because in my diplomatic exchanges, they've called things correctly. Even the stuff I'm doing, or they've predicted the things other people are going to do. Very sensible, very logical stuff that he's been talking about. And yeah, so that's it. I'll just call this video to a close. What we should look forward to now is this slow march of my army towards Asphodel. But maybe, if Man happens to be a lot stronger than I suspect, maybe it won't even be necessary. So that maybe they'll move on Asphodel. But for now, yeah, stay tuned. In another moment, you'll have turn 23. Until then, well, I guess it'll just be a second for you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you back in a second. Okay, so welcome back to turn 23. We are, this is the second part of the episode, I guess, because turn 22 was pretty short. So here we are. There's not a whole lot to say about this. We'll probably focus on just a few things like research and stuff. But first thing I want to talk about is Agartha and Ulm have both taken their first throne. And I guess we'll just look at that first. I'm so sorry. I'm very rude. This is what we get for doing re-recording. I am joined this time by I Seen You Before. I'm sorry that I didn't introduce you. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm just, I don't know, no excuse, fuzzy-brained. So here's the throne situation. We have Ulm and Agartha both with a throne now, which if nothing else, it makes us look less intimidating. Vanheim, the only one with a real throne count. Asphodel is this is just a fake show of force, because hopefully with Man and I closing in on them, certainly they don't have the strength to carry the game out in the short term. They're down, they're just not quite out. So these two thrones are really a placeholder for who will eventually get them, I think. And then there is something we can talk about with research, because we did finish 2 things in construction and 1 in enchantment. And since there's not a whole lot to say about, okay, let me just go through the other events. We found a site in Rivia. We found a site in Rivia with Masamune, Mineral Cave. Other site searching was unsuccessful. And Throne of Winter is spreading cold. So maybe the first thing to talk about will be this research. So we completed 2 in construction, 1 in enchantment. And this will be I Seen You Before's domain more than mine. So in enchantment, we finished tier 5. And why don't you just talk about this and then talk about how we're doing with research?
Oh, definitely. So we researched level 5 of enchantment in order to gain access to Horde of Skeletons. That will help all our Dev 2 or more mages of spamming skeletons. And that will help us get a wall of HP units for our spellcasters to be safe behind it and spamming spells. Otherwise, our continuing research into Construction 4 is going to gain us access to equipment for our Ghost Generals, and we'll turn them into thugs and mini super commanders. Lastly, in general, I think our research is above average of most players. We might be contending for the first, if not the second spot, because we have quite a lot of forts. We've been recruiting Ubas consistently. We're also getting some air income which we can convert into Alquills later on for research. Otherwise, second place might be to Agartha or Vanheim, because Agartha has been casting for quite a while. We don't know exactly how many forts he has, but I know he has at least 2 or 3. Man would be probably towards the last. Asphodel will be the last, because Man only spotted 2 forts. Unless he's been building Alquills, I don't think he has such a great research.
Right.
But otherwise, because Vanheim is so large, he could have gotten a lot of Alquills and boosted his inefficient researchers into alright researchers. So yeah, that's what I think was standing on research globally.
That was a really good overview. I mean, we talked a little bit about it off camera, and that's, I think, my guess is that Agartha is second and that we're first, just because Agartha hasn't had to do anything. They've just been sitting. But you made a really good point that Vanheim is just so big and has so many forts and has the air gems for the owl quills that, yeah, probably that they're more of a contender than I was thinking. As far as the thrones go, by the way, I do want to mention that Chalad has been captured by Ulm, and this is really important because Marcus Aurelius actually announced, just sent an email to all of us. We actually had to redo this turn because it didn't get processed correctly, but Marcus Aurelius let us know that he lost this fort, this Chalad, this territory, because he thought that the process was fort construction happens first, combat next. He had a person who was scheduled to finish a fort here this turn. So as we can see, it's not true. the army of Ulm did happen to take over Chalad, and I guess the way it happens is that combat happens first, and then fort construction happens after combat. So obviously, that's why Marcus was really disappointed by that. Agartha lost their fort, lost the investment, and lost the province. So a bit of an unfortunate series of events for him. Oh shoot!
Yeah,
I took your joke.
yeah, definitely unfortunate.
That's what I had seen you before. Made that joke off camera. It was perfect. Unfortunate. That's brilliant. Bloody brilliant. Okay, so that's the fort situation. That's the research situation. I guess the only thing we can talk about next, it's been 5 minutes, so this will be a very short turn, but last thing we can talk about is Asphodel's army versus Man's. Man doesn't have that much of a force. I'm feeling a lot better about the war against Asphodel because finally, how many turns has it been? Has it been a full year? Finally, somebody has committed and with gumption is actually moving down the little west side of the fort. What do we call this little narrow path? The Valley of Death? I don't know. I mean the Valley of lack of courage, cowardice, something.
Oh no, like it's made out of woods too, so.
Yeah, it should be maybe not the valley, but the woods. The woods of discouragement. It doesn't seem like anybody's had the courage to step up and march down. But finally we have, I mean, besides for Shinuyama, of course, we've sent plenty of troops to die there already. And even Gamera is back with his another band of Kappas, which may later be sacrificed. We'll just see if we can get a little raiding out of him to the south of Asphodel or something. But finally, Man is committing, and I think this is really important. It helps me sleep at night knowing that our allies are actually doing stuff that allies should do. And we have also committed our main force together. They're marching. This is it for us. This is the do or die march to take Asphodel. So Tortuga-san and our prophet Yukonaga are both moving out, and well, needless to say, I think, if this army for some reason does not defeat Asphodel, if we happen to lose our pretender and our prophet and the huge army we've amassed here, I guess it's just basically game over for us, right?
Well, we could revive and struggle. It's not definitely a game over, but that would be very upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like if that happens, we're still technically in the running, but it would take a lot of mistakes from other people to let us back in the game. We would no longer be in the control of our own destiny. So this is a very important movement, I think, and that's why I think that I don't know if Asphodel will move and counter him in Deep Forest. It's just going to be really important for us to see what the Asphodel army has. I don't suspect that 60 units of Man, the scouting is not perfect, but I don't think the 60 units of Man are going to be enough to take Asphodel. In fact, I actually kind of get this, I kind of pity the forces of Man moving in there like this. It's just like, because they don't have, I mean, they left some of their units behind, obviously. Why? I don't know. I kind of feel bad that I feel like they're going to get defeated, especially if they attack Asphodel. I mean, if Asphodel waits and they use their province defense in Asphodel as well, I don't see it going well for Man.
It probably will not go well for Man.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say anything because I still want Man to attack. Because nobody has come down here. I'm really scared. It's been so difficult to get anybody to attack. I'm not going to say anything that would discourage somebody from finally finishing this attack. And, okay, if Man loses some forces, I'm sure he'll take some with him. Hopefully it's enough just to soften Asphodel up for the finishing blow. So.
Definitely.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else we should cover?
No, I think we got everything.
Yeah, I knew this would be a quick turn. Just this is the commitment. I guess the takeaway point from this is the war with Ulm and Agartha is actually getting serious, with Agartha losing some serious possessions. You suspect that since, I guess, Griffin Spires, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but this is the tier 3 throne. So it has Springhawks, is that what it has on it?
Yeah, Springhawks, and they are nasty enemy units that zap you if you don't have lightning resistance.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a no man's land. Nobody can go here.
Yet.
Right, yet. Which means that Iron Range, cut off as it is like sure to fall to Ulm. And then we'll see where the battlefield ends up going from there. You know, it'll be a nice back and forth to see if Ulm can take some land from Agartha. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know who I'm rooting for yet. I like if it's Agartha and Vanheim, I'm clearly rooting for Agartha, but I just wish that Ulm and Agartha would both fight Vanheim and not what we're seeing now, which is infighting. So.
We also have to take into account what's going to happen to Ermor next.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Vanheim lost. I don't know why Vanheim has control right now.
He's sieging right now.
It's something weird going on. In fact, I guess I will mention... Did I already mention this? That this is we had to redo this turn. Some people... There was just a little bit of a mistake with the turn submissions or whatnot. And we actually had to redo it. So... I don't know what's happening with this. Yeah. I don't know if... Well, I'm just going to just wave my hands. We'll see what this looks like in turn 24. And we'll be able to talk a little more intelligently about it. So...
Yeah.
Okay, last thing, just to research our recruitment. We're doing just some more ground forces to join our big army moving off. So we committed as much as we could resources-wise to this area. And then it's the usual Uba. We're going to get one more sorcerer here. We have another Uba and another Uba. So, and some of the Ubas, the death Ubas from Kennen, are going to move up and join this army so that we have more. Now that we can do Horde of Skeletons, we can cast a lot of skeletons with all of those death mages, so they'll be moving up to join the main army. So, okay, well, I guess that's it. So, anything else to say I seen you before?
No. But I think everything's covered for this episode.
Okay, good. Well, that'll conclude this turn and this episode. So we'll see you back for turn 24 in the next episode. And from there, I guess the climax this builds like a normal story. We eventually will fight the main army. So we'll just be monitoring, of course, the movement of our main army. And then we'll just see how the other wars are going. So, okay, so until the next episode, thanks for watching and take care.